because he had the thinking for that time. But that was 5, 6 years, yeah, way later, right? Now imagine you give that to people in the 60s and you want people to develop their own institutions. You got the money, you're going to give it to them to do it, but they don't know how to do it. They're the fighters, they're trainers, they're fighters and trainers, and they're not promoters, and they're not this and that. So after a while, they give up. You keep fronting them the money, go ahead and do it, give it a try. That's because everything that we handle, we should, So if it was people in real estate, everything that people was in, we was putting out. That's what East Oakland Enterprises was. That's what we did. That's why we were different than the Ward brothers and all the famous pimps you see. I still see some of them old Negroes on the thing now. I mean, I thought I saw Fillmore Slim. Anybody know? I saw Fillmore Slim Fillmore Slim must be 84. I said, Slim. I happen to know Fillmore Slim. But they put all them people on TV. But they're not going to put anybody that did anything there. They helped the Ward brothers with a movie, The Mac. And they had them all in the movie. They had them in the movie to take so that Oakland, instead of becoming what it was becoming, to change the mind. And they put all the hustlers and famous Macs in the movie, The Mac, to give them publicity so that they wouldn't be talking about what we're over in Africa trying to get this going and doing that. Boss Man is pretty, he gets things going. He's striking out now. Look, Boss Man done struck out so much that I'll be saying myself, Boss Man, don't go up to bat. Just go and let us stand there and let it walk out. Don't go up there no more. Right? This guy is messing up so bad, it's embarrassing. Okay, but now let's get back to it. If we could find a trail back to where we started, we'll be happy about that. Okay. Let me go back to leadership. We have an opportunity and a responsibility to do the type of leadership that we're doing. Whatever anybody else think of, that's their business. But we are practicing these guidelines of leadership at a very critical time in history. At a very critical time in history. Okay. It's critical because everything we talk about, boom, it'll pop up right there. It used to be it'll happen next month, 5 months later, this month, right? It ain't like that. It's happening. The stuff we talk about blockade running, the Berlin airlift, if we talk about all that stuff, if we talk about let's keep our eye on Afghanistan because they left the weapons behind, that stuff comes to right in front of you the next day. Have anybody noticed that this stuff now is condensing? The time is not stretched out over a long period of time. You don't have to wait. The stuff is happening right now, and it's all big stuff. That's what we're dealing with. That's why the subject today is leadership. And leadership, that's the ability to make decisions. Strategic visioning is one of the things. That's what we're in. That's what we're doing. And we don't care what everybody else do. We don't care. We may look like the stupidest man from Mars to everybody. We could care less. It don't happen. Or people could act like they don't know what we're talking about. We don't understand. That's their business. Right? Those are all the characteristics that it takes to be the proper leader at this time. You have to be able to do it and not be it's not that you don't care what they think, but their pattern of behavior have went over and over again, and we can't do that now. And nor do we have the time. You know, in the last year or so, you could see things are getting closer. Now, if you want to make an estimate, you could say that things are moving, everything is moving faster and closer together. That means the climate that's happening in California and here and everywhere is happening everywhere. Okay, something have to be done about that very soon. Because all the signs are that, hey, another couple of years, we always talk about this, you're beyond the point of no return. In other words, if you watch those programs on history program, you know what the earth will look like in 1,000 years if there's no more humans, in 10,000 years, you know what I mean? Well, of course, by that time, it'll be replenished, cleaned itself up. It'll be nice, you know, without Negroes and white folks running around messing it up, right? It'll be nice. All the trees will came up through the concrete that's left here and broke it down again, and it'll be fine. Won't be no problem. Animals will be happy because there ain't no white folks around, ain't no Negro, it ain't nobody that's going to just abuse us. Our little eating each other and stuff, that's just nature. We just eat things because, you know, we don't have anything against y'all, but that's y'all are actually our breakfast and whatever else we have. So that's why we do it. We don't do it because we don't like you or we're not going to pay attention. And when we finish eating you, we're going to go to the bathroom out there. It's going to go back in the ground. It's going to replenish everything. And then the buzzards are going to come by and eat up every little piece that they left that they couldn't eat. Anyway, so right now, we're in a more critical time. And most people know it, but I don't think people are acting according to basically what they know. So leadership is to influence the direction of change. That means that we do a lot of things that other people won't understand. And we want to help them understand, but I don't want to say we don't care, because that sounds arrogant. But in a way, we don't. No sirree. Everything we've told everybody, if they haven't picked up on it by now, if they haven't heard it, of course we're going to get better stuff to put out in more videos. That's why we take all the videos, because no matter what we do, we're going to get them all out one way or another. We don't care what boss man do on that thing. We're going to get them all out. They're going to get all out over and over again. You know, that's part of the teamwork that we're going to have. And everybody's going to say, where are these? We're going to say, don't worry about it. Where were these at all the time? So this says the same thing. This happened 5 years ago. That was said. And what's the date on this thing? Oh, my goodness, you said that 10 years ago. And it happened 5 years ago. That's all right. Don't you worry about a thing. Okay, here's part of what we're doing in leadership is leadership for this 21st century, not leadership for the 20th century, right, or the 19th or the 18th, leadership for this part of the 21st century, right, for this part of the 21st century. Okay, that means that wherever the world is at, our world is not responding properly. Our world, when I say our world, I was looking at a few programs and they was talking about Freemasonry and how it developed in the U.S., Prince Hall Masonries and all of that. Well, we knew, everything, not everything, but a lot of it, and fraternities and what have you. And I guess Masonic orders and fraternities are almost the same type of thing. Okay. So all I knew is a couple of things, and they wasn't at the same time. I went out to UC Davis to give a lecture, and maybe around 84. And I saw guys walking around. I didn't even know they did this stuff. I'd been in the penitentiary most of the time. They had a skeleton-looking thing on. They had the same thing. And they would go and they stand, and they would do this. And all of them would do it. I said, excuse me. So what the hell are they doing? So they were being initiated in fraternities. And then I got to doing a little study. Why would they do stuff like that? Well, it's training. First, you have to look like a fool sometime. And then the other thing is that you have to learn to follow orders. And the fraternity is the main thing. That's why George Bush and them, Mooga Booga and them, all of them belong to fraternities, right? And they ain't giving up, they ain't saying nothing. I had an uncle-like person that was, when I was doing this stuff years ago, and I was studying a little bit about masonry, because in the nation you want to. So anyway, I got to talk, this guy was a Mason. And I was talking about it, the sickle, and time, and all of that stuff, and the G, and the level, and all of that. And he said, I'd like to comment, but I can't. In other words, where does he get, this nigga's getting all of that stuff? Well, I'm just going to the University of California library, right, and getting all the books on masonry. That's in the early days of, and I'm studying everything. And then I'm able to talk his language better than him. And one time I was at my mother's house. My mother was Eastern Star. No, Eastern Star. They all back here everywhere. So anyway, I had a group of brothers. This is way up in 83, 82. And I was talking about Freemasonry. Yeah, I was talking about Jubilee, and Jubileum, the way he was hit in the side, hit in the da-da-da-da-da, and he was buried in a shallow grave, and this grip is to pull you out of the grave because they tried to pull him out by the regular, and he slipped back in the grave, right? And so they used this lion's grip, right? And I was telling them all of that, and my mother was panicking, So my father told me, he said, your mama's an Eastern Star. I said, I know that. But I mean, because I was at the house and I was talking all that stuff to the brothers. And then I told them, I said, see, masonry, the highest you can get is 33 and a third degrees, I said, 33 and a third degree is only 1 degree above freezing. 32 degrees of freezing. I said, they just throwing out because I'm talking about Islamic knowledge is so heavy, and I said, they just throwing out 33 and 33rd degree Mason, all that stuff they have, that ain't nothing. And then I was talking it too, and stuff that they had, like if my mother and her friends had not been, if they wasn't way up there, the stuff that I'm talking, they just picking up on. For my research, And that's why she couldn't sit still. I said, what's wrong with my mama? She's the Eastern Star, you know. And I was telling them all about, anyway, look, this is a special time. And leadership got to be special. Leadership has to be special. And we have to do what we're doing for the next zillion years. That's what we'll do. If whatever they come, we're not going to play the game not going to play that game with them. We're not going to play the game with them. That game, it won't last. It never lasted. And historically, we trying to do the things that we getting from the Quran first. And it talks about the cyclical nature and the universe. I mean, on the earth and the moon, sun, and that's what we're dealing with. Okay,